Today's video has to do with my father's Blazer, of which suffered a bit of an accident years ago on the right side door electric mirror. After years of using screws and tape to hold it on, the mirror finally bit the dust and needs to be replaced. If you ever had a need to wonder what one of these mirrors looks like on the inside, well, here you go. I ordered a new one and will place the link beneath this video. The OEM part number was kind of obscure, but here it is. Now it's time for the replacement, so let's get after it. Since the interior light is going to be on the entire time I'm working, I'm going to remove the negative lead to the battery. Dad doesn't drive this vehicle every day, so battery drain from the interior lights may push it over the edge. I found these nylon pry tools from Harbor Freight invaluable for jobs like this, as they don't mar or scratch your painted or interior surfaces. I'll start with the tool with a 45-degree bent end with a V groove. Pressing the tool into the seam of the control panel, I pop it up in front, then slide it forward to remove, like this. Use a flat-bladed screwdriver between the connector on the power window receptacle and pry upward, like this representation shows. Then pull straight out to remove. Same principle on the power door lock receptacle. I pressed the wiring harness down out of the way. Using that same pry tool, I'm going to remove this door panel. Start by using your fingers to pull outward on the panel to look behind it and locate the white plastic clips as illustrated here. Slip the ears of the pry tool behind the clip and pry outward. As I continue loosening clips around the circumference of the door panel, listen for the pop as each clip is released from its hole receptacle in the door. Again, lifting the panel slightly to view behind it as you go will reveal all the clips to be removed. The clip here at the top was tricky and pulled loose from the panel, but I reached behind it and caught it with my fingers and pulled it out before it fell into an abyss somewhere out of sight. This is what all the clips look like. On this model of Blazer, the last screws to be removed are found beneath this narrow door handle cover, which can be pried up carefully using a thin, flat-bladed screwdriver, and then the two screws removed counterclockwise. I noted this outer trim ring that was cracked before I attempted to remove it. I'll fix it later. Pry out this insert, and while moving the lock arm to the right, slide the insert to the right behind the inner door handle, then remove it. Two things to take note of. One, this plastic male pin that slides into the plastic female receptacle should have been removed. A representation is shown here. And two, take note of this metal lock rod bent 90 degrees. To lock and unlock requires that the locking rod slide back and forth like this. The long arm of the rod fits into the trim panel here, and the bent end is inserted here. This will be instrumental in reassembly. With all screws, clips, and wiring undone, the panel may be lifted straight up off the door frame. Since you weren't able to see it before, I'm going to freeze the action and point to the location of each door panel clip. Highlighted here is the female receptacle for the clip which came out at the top of the panel. These foam dust covers for the 3 underlying mirror nuts are easily removed with your fingers. Now, it's not the end of the world if while removing these mirror nuts you drop one inside the door panel, especially if you have a magnet on a stick. But obviously it's better that you are careful and not to drop one to begin with. These paper-based dust shields with double-sided tape are easily torn. Just try and be careful as you remove them and retape any accidental tears. Shown here is the electrical clip for the power mirror. Use your screwdriver, as in the other clip instances, and separate the 2 halves. Outside the vehicle, the broken mirror base along with the wiring harness may now be removed. I took the opportunity to clean beneath the old mirror while I had access. Full disclosure, I had opened this box earlier to ensure the mirror was the model I needed prior to taking the door apart. Since I'm working by myself, I preloaded my socket and extension with one of the mirror nuts in advance and set it near my windshield. I'll show you why in a minute. While threading the new mirror's wiring harness through the door opening, it accidentally came out through one of the mirror nut holes. No matter. For the moment, I went ahead and pulled through the slack in the wire. While holding the mirror tight with one hand, I grabbed the socket off the windshield with a preloaded nut and reached around to thread the nut into place on the top mirror bolt and hand tighten. With the mirror now being held in place, I can come back around to the inside to complete the attachment, but I quickly noted the incorrect location of the wiring harness and rerouted it to where it was supposed to be before attaching and hand tightening the other 2 nuts. Tighten all 3 mirror nuts, but don't over tighten. No torque specs were provided. The power lead to the mirror is reattached, and the paper dust shield pressed back in place with its double-sided tape. Before proceeding further, I reattached the battery's negative cable, as illustrated by the light now burning under the hood, because I want to test the power operation of the mirror before I button it up. The negative battery cable is disconnected again, and the foam dust covers pressed back into place. The secret to reapplying the door panel is to start by hanging this long edge over the top of the mating edge located at the bottom of the door window. Use the heel of your hand or rubber mallet and bump the panel downward along the entire length to seat it in place. Peering behind the panel, line up the tip of each clip with its respective hole and pop the panel in place along the edge. Reattach the two armrest screws shown here. No torque is specified. Insert and press into place the armrest screw cover. Once again, the cracked trim ring is shown before repair with superglue. This trim ring was such a tight fit, I was concerned the crack would break loose again while trying to reseat it, but I had let the glue cure a couple of hours and it held tight. The thing I should have done earlier, I'm now doing. The plastic male screw and square female receptacle are removed from this trim panel prior to reinstallation. Shown here, this tab on the left edge will need to be fed in first. Behind the trim panel, make sure the metal lock rod is slid all the way right. As I insert the panel from right to left, you'll see me hold the plastic lock arm cover to the right with my index finger. This will ensure the plastic cover aligns with the metal lock rod underneath the panel. Manually test the lock. I pressed in place the square plastic female receptacle I removed earlier. Once this plastic screw is inserted, it causes the female receptacle to expand, which further holds the panel in place. The power door lock wiring harness is reconnected. It is keyed, so it's not possible to connect it backwards. The same for the power window connector. Take note of the hook on the right of the panel as you insert it first, then slide the panel toward the back of the door while setting the front of the panel straight down and snapping the underlying clip into place. Reconnect the negative battery cable for the last time and retest all powered connections to the door panel and mirror. This repair had gone undone for many years until the mirror literally fell apart. With the mirror gone, my dad would not have been able to get the vehicle to pass inspection here in North Carolina, so naturally he was happy to get one installed, and I was pleased the replacement went smoothly. Thanks for viewing.